Let us solve the exercise number 6 in the part B of networking lab. In this exercise, we are supposed to write a TCP IP socket for the client server program to display a message on the client side that is typed on the server side. So what is that we are supposed to do in this particular program is that the client will send a message to the server, and the server will display that message on the server and then send the message back to the client side. I will straight away go to my NetBeans and let me click on the file, and I'm going to create a new project and select Java as your application and select the Java application. Then click next. Give some name to your project, and I'm going to call it as a TCP demo. You can give any other name also. Ensure that you have saved your file at a proper location. So I'm going to save it in my D drive. Save it in my C drive, and let me go to the VSC Java folder and then save it here. So I have saved my file here. This file that was created is of no use to us, so you can close it. However, I will go to the project again. If the project is not visible on the left hand side over here, you can click on the window and you have all the options. If output is not visible, just click on the output. If project is not visible, just click on the project. It will come here. Ensure that you are there in your right project. So I am there in the TCP demo. You can click on this arrow and open it up, so that open the source packages and then open the package which is inside here. And let us start by creating the client part first, and then we will go to the server part. So I'm going to go here, right click on it, and then I'm going to select the Java class from here. You can if it is not visible over here, you can go here, right click and then say others, and then select under Java, you can select the Java class and then click next, and you're going to come to the same location. Whether you are doing it by right clicking and selecting the Java, or whether you're going and then selecting Java, it's going to be the same one. Now I'm going to call this one as a T client, just to say that it is TCP client. I will just call it as a T client. Let me finish it off. And these are the remark statements which are of no use to us during the examination, and I'm going to remove them. And we need to execute this particular class. So we need a static void main program. So I'm going to say public static void main and then press tab, and it's going to open up the public static void main to me. And what is said over here is that we are supposed to send a message to the server, and the server will display that message. So let me create that message here, and this message is going to be a string message. I'm going to call it as MSG. Okay. So this is my message that I'm going to use it. Because I want to get the message from the user, I'm going to use the scanner class. So I'm going to press SANNE and press Control Space, and the NetBeans will automatically import the scanner class for me. I'm going to call this object as in, and I'm going to create a new instance of this. So I'm going to say new and Control Space, and then I'm going to press Control to the enter again, and then I'm going to type SY again, Control Space, press enter and dot, and type I and press enter. So if you notice that I have not typed most of the time, I just took the help of NetBeans, and during the examination it is advisable to get the help of NetBeans, so that you don't make the spelling mistake, that is you don't miss the capitalization at the proper location, otherwise you will get errors. Let me ask the user what is the message that the person wants to send to the user. So I'm going to say yes out, and I'm going to say enter a message. Okay. And I'm not going to use ln here. I'm going to use print, so that it will come in the same line. And I'm going to read that message mst, and I'm going to use the in dot next line here. So I'm going to read one line over here. now I have the message with me, and it is the time that I need to send it to the server. How to send it to the server from the client side? The idea is same as that of the UDP. You create a socket between the client and the server. So you find a socket that can transport the message to the server. So you need a socket for that thing. So let me create a socket. So how can I create a socket? I'm going to type SOCK, and I'm going to press Control Space, and the NetBeans will say, are you talking about the socket? So this class, if you notice over here, this class implements a client socket, also called as socket. A socket is the end point for communication between the two machines. So that is what I want. So from my client side, the end point of communication is the socket. See, in your you have seen the electrical wall socket. So at your house, you have this electrical socket. That is the end point from where you are going to get the electricity. So that is the same idea. This is the end point from where either you can send or receive the message from the client side, from the server side. So let me just click here, and I'm going to press Control Space and press Enter, and then I will call this one as SOC. I will create a new instance of this one, and I'm going to say new, and I'm going to create a socket. I will press the Control Space here. Remember, don't go for the SSL, and SSL is not required because we are not talking about that. We are going to create the ordinary socket. Press Enter, and I'm going to go with this option. What is this option? In this option, you need to specify both the host name as well as the port at which the communication has to be received. So I'm going to just press enter. So the first one it's going to ask is what is the host name, and you know very well when we are doing it on the local machine, and we call it as a local host. And which is the port number? You can use any port number. You can use say anything 9876, any port number you can use it. Just press enter here. So you got the port open for you. So you have that particular port, and whenever you are using the socket, it may so happen that Java, you require to handle, this is a typed exception, and you need to handle that particular exception. And how can I handle the exception? If you look at this particular corner, NetBeans will tell you that you need to handle this particular exception, that is unknown host exception. So how to handle that thing? I really don't know how to handle this one. So what I'm going to do is, if at all I get any exception, not only this, any other subsequent exception of different type, I'm going to just throw this to the operating system. So I'm going to say throw all the exception to the operating system. So that's it. This is a polite way of saying that I'm not going to handle any of the exception. Now, two things that you must do from the socket that you have just open. So using this socket that you have it here, either you can send something to the server, and you will have to receive something from the server. So two things you have to do that. So you are going to send to the server and receive from the server. What is that you are going to send is the stream of data from your side. So whatever you are reading here, this message, this is going to be streamed from your machine to the server. So how can I get that stream? So to get that stream, I'm going to say I'm going to send a data output stream. So I'm going to say data out, and I'm going to press Control Space. So you notice that the first one is an interface. You see the icon here. First one is the interface, and you can also see that it's an interface. I don't want that interface. So the next one that I have is the data output stream. So what is this data output stream? Data output stream lets an application write the primitive data type, like the character, string, and all those things, the primitive data types to the output stream. Okay. So application user can use this data output stream to read the whatever that is sent to that, but the story is not really required. I got my answer right at the first line itself. So data output stream is helping us to write the primitive type to the stream, and that is what I want. So I'm going to press enter, and the NetBeans will add the required import statement for me. So this is what I'm going to send to the server. So I'm going to say to the server. So this is, I'm sending it to the server. Now I have to instantiate this object. So I'm going to say new and control space, and I'm going to press this one. And now it says that, okay, I can stream it, but you need to provide me with the output stream. So you have to give me an output stream. See, if the output stream is there, then only I can put my content into that. What do I mean by saying that is, what it says is, suppose if something is flowing out of this socket, I can put integer, I can put float, I can put all the primitive data type into that stream which is going out. That stream must be there. If the stream is not there, I can put anything into that. So something has to flow. So how can I make something has to flow? Who is going to allow me to flow something? Okay, so you know very well we have created a socket here, and this socket is the end point for my communication, and this will stream the content. So I will go to my socket. This is my socket, and I'm going to ask this socket. Let me open this one. Okay. I'm going to ask this socket. SOC is my socket, and I'm going to tell that one, you give me the output stream. So it returns the output stream for this socket. Okay. So it is like you have in your bathroom. So you have two pipe taps will be there. One is for the hot water, other one is for the cold water, something like that. Okay. So in that case, you are getting water from the outside tap into the your bucket or anything, or maybe to a shower or any other. So this is both are coming. So both are coming in the same direction. But in the case of socket, it is the other way around. You have two things here. One is the one that will send something out of here. The next one is something that is going to give you something out. So one is you are sending out, the other one is you are receiving it out. So I am asking it, so tell me which is that tap from which, or which is that pipe from which I can send the data out. So it's going to, that is what is the output stream. So I get the get me the output stream. Now let us look at how can I, that this is sending. How can I get the thing? You know, in almost in every household, if you're getting the water from municipality, you know that municipality water will not come in gush there. So it will come a very feeble water will come. Okay. And what every house has a place, a reservoir. Okay, we call it sump. In that you place the water, and then when this underground tank is full, you put a pipe and you put it into overhead tank. So you first collect whatever that is coming from the municipality corporation into the underground tank, and then as required, you're going to mm, use the pump and push it to the the overhead tank. This is what you are going to do. Okay, so this idea what we are looking at here is called as buffering. So whenever something comes from the server, it may not come, all of the things may not come. It will come very slowly. Okay. So sometimes some water will come, sometime the 5 minutes water may not come at all. So in the same way, you will receive something from the server, and after some time there may be fully silent, and then you may receive some packets and so on and so forth. So we are going to buffer whatever that is coming from the server, and then we are going to use it. So in other words, you can imagine that your client has two sockets. One socket was there to send something to the server. Other socket, you will not get it. Always you may not get something. So you keep a bucket here, and in this bucket, so you keep a bucket here. In this bucket, whatever that is coming, you just store it. So this bucket, what imagining, that is called as a buffer. So we are going to get the buffered content. So we are going to buffer it, then start reading it. So how can I get the buffer? Remember, we are going to read from that buffer. So I'm going to say this is a buffered. Okay. So I'm going to say buffered reader. Okay. So what does this is going to do? So it reads the text from the character input string. So this is the idea. So what it is going to do is the from the server side. So now it is water is not coming. What is coming from the server side is set of characters, like A, B, C, D characters will come. So then you keep all the characters in the bucket here, whatever character A, B, C, D, whatever server is sending, that you keep it in the buffer and then read them as a text. And that is what it is doing. So reads the text from the character input string. So I'm going to do that thing. So let me just press this one. Buffer reader, press enter. And this is what is the thing that I'm getting from the server. So I'm going to say this is what I'm getting from the server. So the name for this variable is or this object, I'm going to call it as from server, and I'm going to create a new instance of it. So I'm going to press control space for creating the new instance of it. Now the problem is this bucket. In order to fill this bucket, you see here. So I told you that you're going to keep a bucket, and in this bucket you're going to fill. So something has to come from the outside. No, so that is what it is asking me. Give me the something that is going to come from the other side. In other words, it is going to tell me that I need a reader. Okay, so how to get this reader? So in order to get the reader, we are going to create a new instance of input stream. So let me say input stream reader. So this input stream reader is a bridge from the byte stream to the character stream. So let's recall what we have been talking about. So I told you that I'm going to keep a bucket here, and in this bucket I'm going to get the characters, and I'm going to put all the characters here, and I'm going to take all this character and convert it into text, and then I'm going to use it. Now, how can I get the character or ABCD, whatever you can take the characters? All these characters, how can I get it? Remember, what is traveling across the wire from your machine, the client machine, to the server machine is of the bytes. So bytes will pass from one side to the other. So you are going to send some bytes 1010 something. So one byte you are going to send, isn't that it is one byte? You're going to send one byte at a time. Okay, so you get what you get here outside here is this 1010 something, but the one byte you're going to get it. You have to get this byte, convert this byte into character, and put it into the bucket. Now, who is going to do that conversion of bytes into the character? And that is what is the use of this input stream. So, what it is going to do, it's like a bridge between your bytes that you are getting from the outside world to the character that you are going to get it over here. So, I'm going to say control space input reader. Now again, the problem with the input reader is it says that okay, I can if you give me a byte, I will convert it into character. So what it says, this particular thing, what it says is, if you are able to give me a byte, isn't that it is 8-bit? Just for simplicity, I've typed it. I'm going to convert it into a character. And what this is going to say is that if you have a set of characters, like if you have something like a set of character, I'm going to read all this character as one string, and I can give it to the buffer. I can give it to the outside world. Now the question is, you have to get this zeros and ones from the servers. So in other words, you need a stream. The stream of water, what is coming out of your tap, stream of water will come. So in this case, a stream of this zeros and ones must come. Who is going to give me that stream? And naturally, you are going to say that all these things will be given by your socket. And I told you that socket has two parts. One part is to stream something onto the server. Other part is to stream something from the server to the server and from the server. So I'm going to go to my socket. SOC is my socket. and I'm going to ask this socket, okay, give me the input string. Okay, that's simple as that. So give me that zeros and ones that is coming from the server side. So give me this zeros and ones, that whatever that the server is sending, give it to me. I will give it to this input stream reader. Okay, what this input stream reader will do is it will convert it into a character, and what this will do it will take set of characters, ABCD set of characters, and it will store it as a text. So this is what is the idea behind it. So you got two things. Now let us send the message to the server. So we have the message with us. We have already taken the message, and it's a time to send this message to the user. How to send it to the user? So you know, to SVR, to the server. This is what I told you. And I'm going to write something to that stream. Remember, that's a stream there. So I'm going to write something to the stream. The one of the most frequently used mistake that the student will do is you will by heart it, and you will say during the examination, you will say that it is write bytes. This is the most frequent mistake that you are doing. Remember, I am writing text, that is a string, so it is bytes. Can you see there? Yes, is there. So the most frequent mistake is this. So you instead of saying bytes, instead of making it as plural, you use singular. So you must make it as bytes, and then bytes will be sent to the server. Now, in the same way, I'm going to receive something from the server. This is the message that I have sent. This is the message that I have sent. Now I am going to receive the message. Remember, this message is sent now. So I am going to receive that whatever the server. See, the idea here is, what do I mean by saying that? You are going to send something to the server. Okay? Server will not keep quiet. Server will reply back, and it's going to give it. And what is this we are doing? Whatever you are in this program, what we are doing is, whatever you are sending, whatever text you are sending, the server will convert it into capitals. Your text, it will convert it to capital, and it is going to return it back to you. So I'm going to get that, and I'm going to store it in the variable. Let me use the same variable MSG, because that MSG is all sent, it is there. I'm going to receive something from the server, so I'm going to say MSG is equal to, so this is what I'm receiving from the server. So I'm going to say read line from there. Okay. Now there is one small thing that you need to do over here is, remember, we are sending one line at a time. Okay, so we are sending one line at a time. So I am going to append a slash n. You know what is this slash n? I need not have to tell you. So end line, I'm going to append it so that one line will reach to the other side. So the original message and a new line character is added, so that the other side knows that and that's the end of the line. Okay, so this is what I am sending. This is what I am sending to the server. This is what I am receiving at the client side. So these are sending and receiving from the client. Let me display whatever I have got. Let me display it here. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to use yes out and press enter here, and I'm going to say message from server, or from server, because I don't want to write too many things during the examination. From server, this is the message. So I'm going to just put a plus MSC. This is the message that I'm receiving from the server. So here the program ends. You know very well, your teacher always says switch off the lights, switch off the fan once it is done. Similarly, switch off your socket once its work is over. So how can I switch it off? I'm going to just say socket.close. So this will close my socket. Done with the client part. Let's go to the server side and what the server is going to do. So the client part, whatever we have done here, we opened the socket, and everything is good. But what the server will do? Okay. So let's go and let's look at the server now. I'm going to go here to my project again. If the project is not visible, click on window and project. Come to the location where you opened your project, and come to this package where everything is there. Right click here and I'm going to say new Java class. If the Java class is not available, click on the other and get the Java class. Once you get to the Java class, I'm going to give it a name. Come on, let me give it a name, and I'm going to say T server. T server because it is a TCP story that we are talking about. Last time we were talking about UDP, so this time it is TCP. Now all these remark statement will not help you during the examination, so I'm going to get rid of them. Again, I have to run this one. The server has to run. So I need a public static void main. So I'm going to say public static void main and press enter, and then it is all over. Now I have to receive a message from the client side. So remember, I'm not asking from the user. I will the client last client that whatever I have created. This last client, the last program that I was just typing, the client will send the message to me, and I'm going to store that message here. So I'm going to say string dot message to store this message here, and I'm going to convert that message into capitals. So I'm going to say cap CAP capital message. Okay, just to the whatever message that I'm getting, message MSG, okay, capital message. So whatever I am getting from the client side, I will convert it into capital and then send it back to the client itself. What is the next thing that you need to do? So you know that from the client side, you have to open a socket, and that will contain the input and output and input stream. What about the server? Server is not something different. Server will also have to open up the socket so that it can receive something. Is it not? So let us open the server. However, this server socket is different from the client side socket. The reason is server will always listen to its client. The client need not always be active, but the server has to be active. If you like, if you didn't get it, your Google server that you have, or the Gmail server that you have, or your WhatsApp server, it must be active whether you are sending a message or you are receiving a message. Regardless of that, that will be active and listening to your messages or your email or your queries, whatever you say. Okay, so that's a different types of socket because it has to be kept open for a very long time. So I cannot simply say it is a socket. I have to give it, they have to call it slightly different. So what I'm going to say, I'm going to say this is a server SOC and control space. So you got this server socket. What is this server socket? This class implements the server socket, a socket that waits for the request. This is what I said. Your Google server or a WhatsApp server, it waits for your messages or your request, whatever you think of. So this is whereas the previous socket, if you open in the client side socket, it was ordinary socket. When it is required, you use it, and otherwise you switch it off. It's like in your house, when you want to switch on, you can switch on your lights, fans, and whenever you want it, you can switch it on and you can switch it off. But the KEB person, the poor person who is there in the KEB, that electricity board, he can't do that. He can't simply switch off and switch on. Otherwise, he will get everybody will blast at him. So he will have to patiently switch on and wait for you to switch use the services. So this is what is the server socket. I'm going to use this server socket. Let me call again, but I will use the word SOC. It's a socket, even though it is a server socket. It is a socket altogether. So I'm going to use the same word here in order to avoid confusion. And I'm going to use control space here. And again, we are not interested in the SSL socket. We want the server socket. I'm going to give the port number. Okay. And it is better you type the port number by copying it from here. Okay. This number, don't make mistake. You see, this port number is like the platforms in your railway station. Okay, so many three platforms, four platforms, or many platforms will be there. Suppose if you are standing in platform number 1 and your train comes at platform number 4, definitely you can't catch the train. So you have to be there in the platform number 4 to catch the train. In the same way, you have to be there at the proper port number The client must send it to the same port number and the server must listen at the same port number. So I'm going to put it here and put the what is this enter here. Now as usual, the Java, you know very well, these are all typed exceptions, and Java is not happy with it, and it just says IO exception may be there and you have to catch it. And I, as already told you, I don't know how to catch all those exceptions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just throw it to the Windows, and I'm going to tell the Windows so that you do whatever you want. I got one exception. Okay, so I'm going to just throw it to the Windows. That's simple as that. So if something happens, I will just throw it to the Windows. Let Windows handle whatever it has to be done. Now, as I already told you, the server has to wait until it is terminated. So your Google server is there or your KV person is there. They are going to open up the connection and they will wait until it something happens and then it switches off. So I'm going to say while I'm going to press Control space here and I'm going to select the second option, and that is while true, and press enter, and the NetBeans will do the needful things by adding the while true loop for me. And within this loop I'm going to do something. Remember, in this case what is happening is you have your client and which is trying to establish connection with the server, and you have a server that patiently wait for the connection to come. Okay? So when a client comes and sends a message, the server has to accept it. You know very well, whenever you receive your phone call, you will have to swipe it on one direction or the other direction in order to receive or in order to accept that call. If you don't swipe it your mobile to accept the phone, that phone the connection will be incomplete. So the on at the server side, whenever the client sends something to the server, when a client makes the request to the server has to first say that what comes at the socket, I will accept your message. If the server says I am not going to accept it, whatever you send is of no use. So what is the first thing that the server will do? It will start the socket and it will accept the connection from the socket. So when it was like your friend is calling you, so let's assume that you have you have the client here, and it is sending some request to the server, okay, and the server accepts it. So you got a call, okay, and you swiped to the right side or top, whatever it is. You accepted the call. So when you accepted the call, what happens? You are now connected. So in other words, you established the connection with the other side. So if I call you and if you accept my connection, then my call, then the connection is established. So when the server is accepting my call or the client's call, a connection will be established between them. So we need now, what we need now is a connection. Okay, and how can I what is that connection? That connection is the one that will help. If the client is there, the server is there, that connection will help the server to accept something and re receive something and then send something. And you know very well what is this. On the client side, what you called this one, an endpoint that helps you to send something, and the endpoint that will help you to receive something is called as a socket. So we are going to create a ordinary socket. Last time we created a server side socket which will wait for the connection. This time we are going to just create a socket. So I'm going to say socket, okay, ordinary socket, and I will call it as a connection. Because why I am calling it as a connection is, this is because when the server socket, when you accept the connection, okay, then only if I'm going to just put a dot here and I'm going to say what is this accept. Accept listens for the connection to be made, okay, to this socket and accepts it. Okay, So this is what is the idea. So you are going to accept the connection. So you got the connection. Remember the type of it is a socket itself. This socket is the server socket. This socket is the ordinary socket. So you got the socket. Now you have to read it. The same story is there for the server also. What do I mean by same story is there? The client is sending to the server, and the server, you know very well, there is a socket here. What the client is sending is zeros and ones, and somebody has to convert it into characters A, B, C, D and put it into a bucket, and the server will read the text from that bucket. Okay, and what is this bucket? Bucket is your buffered reader. Okay, if you listen to here, so this is the buffered reader. You can copy paste it, but I will not do that thing. Let me write it. So you need a buffered reader, a buffered reader, okay, buffered reader. Okay, again, you know that it can read the text from the character. So I'm going to call it as a from client, because you're getting it from the client. And how do you get it? You said that it is a new buffered reader, okay, as usual, and then you need somebody to get the bytes into the character. So how do you do that thing? So you're going to say input stream reader. So this will convert the input stream reader, not this one. Input it's the bridge between the bytes and the stream. The last time same explanation holds good here also. I need the new. I'm sorry. I want to create a new instance of it. It's not just directly doing it. So let me create a new instance of that. So I'm going to say new, what is it? Input stream reader. So I want to create a new instance of it. And then I will go to the socket. So what is my socket in this case is my connection. Okay, remember the ordinary socket, now I'm calling it as my connection, because for the server I called it as socket, so I'm calling it as my connection. And in my connection I'm going to use the get input stream, so which is going to get the input stream. So same story is true, and I'm going to use it. Done. This is for the input. What about the output? How did you do it? What did you do for the output? You created a data output stream, and you did the same story. The same story is true. Here you are writing first and reading next. Here you are reading first and writing next. So what you are going to do? You are going to say data output stream. Okay. So this is data output stream like the last time. So this is a two client. So this is writing it two client is equal to new control space data output stream, and you need an output stream. Where will you get it? Remember, I'm calling this socket as connection, so I'm going to say connection get the output stream. Okay, not don't get the options, get the output stream. So you got both of them. Now read from the client. So from the client, whatever message you are getting, just read it into this message. So I'm going to say mst is equal to from the client. Okay, read the line, read a line, done, and convert it into capitals and then send it back. Now before I do it, I'm going just to print it here, and I'm going to say that from client, this is what the message I'm getting. So that something is happening, otherwise everything goes on and you don't know what is happening. Okay, so this is the message I'm receiving from my client. Done. And I will have to convert it into capitals. How can I convert it into capitals? I've used one variable here. You see this variable caps message. You can ignore, you can avoid that thing, but I will just make it. I don't want to make it too much of complicated things over here. MSG, how do you convert it into uppercase? So you're going to say to upper. In your C program, you know very well, to upper, to lower, and so on and so forth. To upper, we are going to do it, and as usual I'm going to here only I'm going to concatenate the new line, so that this is a message I'm going to at the end, definitely I'm going to send it to the server, is it not? So I'm going to say to client, okay, and I'm going to write something. Okay, write the bytes. Like the previous case, write the bytes, very important. And the NetBeans will this time take it wrongly. I want to write the capital message, not the message what I have received. What I have received from the client side. So this is what I have received from the client side. But when I'm writing back, I will write the uppercase part here. So I will write the capitals back to the client side. So this is what I'm supposed to do it. Let me save everything by clicking here, save it. First run the server, because remember server is the one that waits patiently for the client. So run the server part first. So I'm going to right click on the empty place and I'm going to say run this particular file. If I have not done any mistake, it has to run. Okay, so it is running. If you, I think I will give you one line here, extra line, so that you know that something is happening here. Is it not? Okay, I will explain this and then come back and rerun it, and then just add one system.out.print line, so that here if you notice that what is happening, you don't know what is happening. So just to give you that hint. Now let us come to the client side by clicking on the client. Now if you close it, just to go to the project and double click on it. Come to the client side, right click and then run it. The client runs and it is going to ask you for enter a message. Okay. And I'm going to say hello server. Okay, this is the client message. Now this message will be sent. This message will be, if everything goes fine, this message will be sent to the server and the server will convert it into capital and it's going to give it back to me. So if I press enter, it will go to the server and you notice that the server has replied back to me saying that hello server in all capitals. Okay, what about the server side? Look at the server side. Server side, I'm only printing the message from client. If you click on this output, if I just close it, you just click on the output. Again, if the output is not visible, go to window and then click on the output, it will come. Now look at this server here. So if you look at this server, you will notice that from client, hello server. So this is what you're getting. Now you will notice that the client side is closed, but the server is not closed. So the reason is in the server you have this while loop which will continuously run forever. So you need to forcefully stop that server part. How do you do that thing? You look at this part here and you notice that T server is running. Okay, so just click here and it's going to say, are you sure you want to cancel the run of T server? Yes, I will terminate it. Okay, so this is how you terminate it. Now let me go to the T server over here. Before, once once you are up to here, okay, once you accept the connection, before you accept the connection, I'm going to just give outside the while loop, I'm going to just use yes out, and I'm going to say server is waiting for client. Now this I am doing it because otherwise if the server will start, you don't know what is happening, simply it runs. Okay, now this one line will just at least tell you that something is happening. So let me run it and you are going to see this message at least. So you notice the server is waiting. Now at least the people who read this, or they know, oh yeah, the server is ready and it is waiting for the client. Now if you go to the client and then run this client, just run this client and you give a good evening, like that. We'll just type some message. So good evening server. Okay, so if you just say that thing, okay, press enter and you notice that on the server side, the server said that it got the message good evening server from the client side and it converted it. If you notice here, I'm converting it into uppercase and then sending it back to the client. So if you look at the client output here, T client here, so you have this T server and T client. T client, you notice that it is everything is written in capsule. But a very important thing, your server is still running. because you notice that it is the T server is still running and you need to terminate it. How do you do that? You just click on here and then say yes, the server is terminated now. That's all you need to do it in this particular exercise. Thank you for your interest, and we will meet again in the other exercise. Thank you.